Hello. Welcome to CRAV'IN IRON Podcast. This is episode 25. Today, I'm here with Kristi Archer.
Hey
So,
guys.
demo crew member and really a hardworking motherfucker. So this podcast is to get everybody's story out there. And when I notice somebody's has like a huge transformation, like you, Kristi, then I want to get your story out there because it's motivating. I mean, transformations like yours and like a lot of people that I've had on the podcast, it helps motivate others and change lives. So that's our goal. So,
Right.
anyways, so how you doing?
I'm good. I'm doing really good. Excited.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ready to spill the tea.
All right. Well, like I said, we want to get your story out there. So, where are you from? What's your background? And let me just give people a heads up on their story real quick. I just want to share the transformation you had. Boop. There it is.
Yep.
Huge transformation.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at you.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to
So
spoil any questions for later. So
it's all good. Yeah, no, so I live in Ohio. I'm from Ohio. I've been here most of my life. I was actually born in Maine. My family's they're all from Maine, really. Except for my grandfather was from Ohio in the Air Force. That's how we ended up down here. But yeah, so that picture that you see, I was 320 pounds.
Jeez.
And I lost 170 through nothing but working my ass off and going to the gym and changing my diet.
How old were you?
But I was 30, I think 35 when I started doing that. Yeah, so that actually was not my first trip down the rabbit hole of weight loss, so to speak.
Rabbit hole.
Yeah, the rabbit hole. I spent most of my life chubby and fat, and there's a difference to me. So the real weight gain started when I was like the summer between 6th and 7th grade. That's the time that I probably put on a good 50 pounds in that summer. And that's the earliest time I remember binge eating. Things were, kind of hard when I was a kid. And I remember I used that to cope. And if I wasn't being, there wasn't anybody around to tell me to cool it, I would, take out those big party pails of ice cream by myself, and I would just start, shoveling in my face. And yeah, so I remember being about 12 or 13 doing that. And by the time I was 14, I weighed 250 pounds.
At 14?
At 14, 250 pounds. I am 5'3". So it was considerable. And, kids are, brutal. I was also poor, and those two things together, fat and poor, just no good.
Yeah.
When you're in school. Exactly. And they're cutthroat. Luckily I'm a roughneck, so
Clearly.
I kind of took it. Yeah. But it got to a point where I remember 15 or so, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm tired of being fat. And I lost 88 pounds in high school. And that was done by the low fat diet of the 90s. Fat was the enemy in those days. And but I just replaced, regular cookies with Snackwell cookies or, whatever. And I was in gym, I just ran, and it came off. And that was what saved me in high school from all the bullying and the daily torment that I received.
Yeah. And I'm sure that the kids seeing a transformation like that, it's kind of upped your popularity a little bit, and
Yeah, I mean,
say, oh, we can't
I
pick
was,
on her anymore.
yeah, I was working too, so I was able to buy, the hip clothes and those kind of things, and so everything kind of turned around junior senior year for me, and that confidence that I didn't have for a long time started to build.
Mm.
But after high school, it's kind of like, well, now I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks as far as, anybody that I went to school with. I don't care. I was just working a shitty fast food job in high school, and I kind of stayed that way in my 20s, unfortunately, for a while, just stuck in a rut. And I was drinking all the time and, partying Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe Sunday too. And what's open at 2:30 in the morning? Taco Bell and McDonald's, so we would go and stuff in my face again, plus, easy access to all the fast food that I want. Just started packing on the weight. But the only difference between that and being a teenager is I didn't give a shit when I was in my 20s. I didn't care what anybody thought. I was just kind of, living it up, drinking all the time. And next thing I knew, I was back up to, well, let's say like this. I hit 30 over 300 pounds. And
so it just basically gradually increased until
exactly. I mean, I crossed the 250 line, and then I just kept going, and it just didn't stop. And I remember stepping on the scale when I was at work, because I didn't own one, but I was by myself, and I stood on it, and it was 320. And I was like, oh God, so all that did was make me feel even more disgusted, with myself than I already was. But the only difference, I didn't let anybody know how much suffering that I felt on the inside.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's hard to, I mean, it's one thing admitting it to yourself, but,
oh yeah,
out there to other people,
right.
Well,
Yeah. But I mean, I felt it. I was just like the fat party girl though, and I could outdrink most everybody, and I did, so that's kind of how it was for a while. And I remember just being, when you are, so the numbers, let me just say like this. For me, like I said, I'm 5'3", hit dirty 30, 320 pounds, just a big mama. And that BMI for me is 56.5. That is, you really only have a BMI chart in a bariatric office that goes up that high. And it's class 3 super morbidly obese, because I'm an overachiever, apparently. So I couldn't, just regular obese wasn't good enough. I had to hit the, the super.
If you're going to do it, you got to do it big.
Right. I had to do it to the max, and I did. But yeah, so, then I would just lay around. When you're that large, you are excellent at denial is your favorite thing. And avoiding mirrors, roller coasters, lengthy walks, stairs.
So just,
I remember going.
Just things that you couldn't do.
Exactly. Full-length mirrors, and all of these things. And something would happen in my life, and I would get a slap of reality. Because in my mind, I was never as large as I actually was. And, I remember going to the Jason Aldean concert in Nationwide Arena one year, and we were really high up, and I remember I had to ascend so many stairs just to get to our seats, that I got to the top, and I felt I was going to, fall down on the other concert goers and just create like a huge human snowball tumbling down everybody.
Well, that's one way to look at it.
So I hated situations like that. I got baptized in 2013, and I was hoping that they were just going to, dunk my head in the water. She tells me, no, you're going to get into a bathtub. We're going to lay you back 3 times in the tub. So then the panic starts to set in. And I'm thinking, I'm envisioning all these scenarios, and I said, oh my gosh, what what am I getting into? They wanted me in, a white t-shirt. Okay. So I know what noise it's going to make when it's soaked and I'm pulling it away from my body. I also know that everyone's going to see everything underneath it. Yeah. I know that the tub's probably going to overflow and I'm going to, splash all the parishioners with water.
They're probably going to not protect you. They're going to check you.
Right. So I'm like panicking, and what should have been a beautiful night was clouded with all of this anxiety that I had about the night.
Yeah.
So that's just really what I dealt with. And then kind of the tipping point for me was 2014. My grandfather, he had type 2 diabetes for a long time, heart disease, bypasses all of those kinds of surgeries and things to try to make him live a little longer. He did not care what doctor said. He wanted to, live his best life, and he felt like eating ice cream or smoking cigars or, whatever, he was going to do that. And he did. But in 2014, and really before that, he lost his battle with it, and it took his life. All of his eating and, all of that. So I remember sitting at the hospital bedside with him, and he did not know that I was there. And I don't know, I'm sure I'm not one that has watched away, but I'm sitting there next to this man who didn't listen. And he probably could have had 10 more years with my grandmother, who's now heartbroken. And all my family members are standing around, we're all, crying because he's gone. And I remember the only one there, I put my head down and I'm shaking it. And I looked at him and I said, "You stupid old man, you could have had 10 more years with Grandma if you had just did what they told you to do."
Yeah.
And I look down and my ass is hanging over the sides of the chair. And light bulb goes off. You fucking little hypocrite. Give it some time. And that's where you're going to be, right there. Right there in that bed, and everybody's going to be standing over you. And that's when I said, that's it. I'm done. I'm done being this way. And never look back.
It's pretty intense there.
Yeah.
Your anxiety is nuts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, so you were 320 pounds, and how heavy what's your weight now?
Right now I am 161. So I got down to about 137 pounds at my smallest. And I didn't have any muscle at all because I was just, cardio. And then I started to gain a little bit the more I started lifting. So now I'm about 161.
Well, now you're watching, you have the muscle, right? And it's totally different transformation.
Yeah.
Night and day.
Right. So I started other changes in my body as well,
Yeah. How old are you now?
41.
6 years?
Yeah, I just turned 41. The start of it, I lost maybe 50 pounds or so in about 6 months. And I remember my knees started to bother me really bad with some of the workouts that I was doing. And I decided I would kind of take a break. And I did until January 2015. And when I did that, by the end of that year, I had lost 100 pounds. And then the following year, I lost 30 more. And then things started to kind of peter out a little bit. But I had a lot of loose skin on my body. And still have a little bit, but I ended up getting some of the skin surgically removed. It was about 20 pounds that he took off my body. And I remember asking him after that surgery if, I was going to lose more. And he's like, no, probably not. Well, he was wrong, because I lost another 20 pounds after that. And that, like I said, it made me the littlest I've ever been, probably since I was a kid,
Yeah.
But it definitely, anybody can do it. It's just really fucking hard. I'm not going to lie. You have days that you don't want to do it. I remember every single second of being that big, even now. And I remember exactly what it feels like to move that big of a body and try to exercise. But I am a bully, I bully myself really bad. And, it's kind of a drill sergeant mentality, in my mind. When I feel like quitting, it's like, oh, you're weak, you're all of these things, and you need to go and do it. And I would go. Even when I was tired, I was exhausted, whatever, I would go, I would do it. And I remember, because I had failed the first time with weight loss and I packed on that weight, it's kind of like I was scared to start the journey because I was afraid to fail. Because I already failed once. And I'm like, okay, well, you tell people again, well, hey, I'm going to lose weight. And they're kind of like, okay, because they've heard it before.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, there's that whole thing. And it's kind of like, no, I'm serious. I'm really going to do it, and maybe you are. But let's just be honest, food is delicious. It's amazing, and for me, I am legit a food addict. I could eat, I have binge, so I could literally eat myself to death. And I know that, I wanted to do it the right way. So the first things that I started to do was, like, I was addicted to soda really bad. And I started to, okay, no more soda. So I just cut it out cold turkey and had a headache every day for about 2 weeks. And then, after a few weeks, it was over and it was out of my system and I didn't care anymore. And the next thing is I had a huge sweet tooth. So that was the next thing I went after. So I baby stepped everything to try to relearn how to eat and form different habits. Because, like, if you remember the first time I did it, low fat, ate junk, just low fat junk on top of junk, and it didn't work. And this way, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. So baby steps to me seemed like the logical way to go versus just, okay, no more soda, no more candy, no more, whatever. All at once it was too big for me to accept all of that change at once versus little baby steps. And that's how I feel like, it stuck this time, because I did it that way.
Yeah, and your body's used to all that sugar and all that. So, like, I was in the same boat. Like, I loved. So I was a huge gamer, and actually in about 2014, huge gamer. I went to a police academy, but I was the fat kid in the police academy, and I just fucking gamed when I wasn't doing that. It was just, yeah. Well, anyways, so Mountain Dew was my thing.
Right.
And I called it gaming fuel, and I drank Mountain Dew constantly. So after the police academy, I was like, God, you know what? I'm tired of being the fucking fat kid. And because, I mean, when you're in the police academy and you have your drill sergeants and your drill instructors and they're all calling you fat ass or whatever, and telling, just like egging you on, telling you that you're slowing everybody else down and they're only as fast as me because I was the slowest, and that was like my motivation. But then when I decided to do the change after the police academy, soda was like the first thing to go, because I knew like I didn't do a lot of fast food, but I drank a fuck ton of soda. I ate whatever the hell I wanted, garbage food or whatever. But yeah. Now when I drink soda, it doesn't even appeal to me. Like, it doesn't taste good anymore, and you know what I mean?
I got the way. You know, I drank that shit like, you know, I remember, of course, morning, noon, and night. You know, I would take it to bed. I would wake up in the middle of the night, crack one open, you know, take a huge drink.
Mhm.
And it's a wonder my teeth didn't rot out, but they did not. But yeah, it had a huge hold on me. You know,
Yeah.
all that stuff did.
But now it's nice now though, like the wife and the kids, they want soda and shit, and I'm like, I'm just gonna get a Powerade, or I'm gonna get, you know, something like that. And they're like, hey, taste this. Does this taste weird to you? And I drink it, and I'm like, that's fucking gross. And it's like root beer or something.
Mm-hmm. It's
I'm like,
so sweet and like just
yeah.
coats your throat. I don't know. It's just,
And it just makes you feel bloated now and shit. And it's like, yeah, it's because I'm healthy.
yeah, all of that stuff. If I, you know, go off of my normal eating anytime, you know, I mean, it's
Mhm.
just feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just recently got back on track with eating, and I feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Like even just going and taking a shit is like, oh gosh.
Because you actually,
Finally, yeah, finally I get to have a nice one, just where it just flows out.
right,
I don't have to sit
right,
there for 30 minutes pushing. It's great.
yeah, producing a turd that big.
Yeah, it takes you 30 minutes and you're pushing real hard.
Right. And
It's
you're just
hurting.
pissed off because they're
Then you look in there and it's that big. It's like, God damn it.
like, right, you're like, oh, I sat here this whole time. Great.
You coming sideways? What the hell happened?
Oh man, yeah, I
Uh,
don't miss
yeah, no, but I mean, now I'm back on track with it, and it's like, oh, it's so nice. It's just kind of like a reminder of like, hey, this is why you got to do it.
that. Yeah,
More energy, just fucking, yeah, you're functional.
exactly.
Yeah. So, anyways, getting off track here. We started talking about taking shits and whatever, but uh, so you said it was hard growing up, and you said that you were poor
Mm-hmm.
and overweight and everything. I would like to go a little deeper into that, just for people that, you know, experience that as well. I personally haven't. I mean, I wasn't wealthy growing up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my mom worked at a bank as a teller, and my dad was construction. And we had to work for everything that, like me and my brothers, we had to work for everything that we owned. But we were taken care of by my parents. Um, so yeah, I mean, how hard was it, like growing up, and
Well, it's
how'd
weird.
you live?
Um, well, my mom, she started working when I was around 10. My dad, he was you know, the guy, he was the man. He took care of the family or whatever, and until it just got harder. You know, we got older, we need more stuff, so she went to work. And then when she went to work, I'm the oldest of three, um, and I became like the little mom, so that, you know, was kind of stressful. I was personally, I was not aware of how poor we were, or that there was anything, you know, wrong with me, or, you know, whatever, until I got to public school. And that's legit. My parents tried, you know, they would always do their best to get us what we wanted. And so when I grew up, I wasn't, you know, I tell people we weren't spoiled kids, because you can't spoil kids if you're not, you know, bringing in a ton of money.
Yeah.
What we needed. But, you know, there was really hard times. You know, you ever get your summer clothes secondhand at the, you know, the Goodwill, or, you know, eat that government cheese or peanut butter or whatever, all of those kind of things I've experienced. But I didn't, you know, it was just kind of the way we lived. And I go into public schools, then all of a sudden, you know, now I don't have what everybody else has. And I was chubby, and, you know, all of those kind of things. And so that's where literally once I got into public school, kindergarten, boom, started. And I was tormented day in, day out, every single day. And I learned.
Those kids, like,
Kids, yeah, they do.
yeah, and you know, hey, this is what's wrong with you, even though it's nothing wrong with you. I mean,
Right.
so it
You
makes
know?
you feel like shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And they got to point out what, you know, if you're not wearing the trendy clothes or, you know, whatever, it's just a broken record. But I would always internalize all the feelings that I had with that. I didn't ever lash out at anybody. I didn't never, you know, defend myself, I guess. I was the kid that just kind of put their head down and just, you know, would walk away. So I think that was kind of the start of my anxieties and things that I've gone through in my life, just not learning how to deal appropriately with emotions and things like that. And I do not support bullying in any way. Okay, I have to preamble that. However, I will say this. All of the bullying that I endured made me have the thick skin that I have. It made me not give a fuck, you know, what anybody thinks. And I've always been the kind of person that I not follow anybody. You know, I would always befriend the kid that somebody else was picking on, or somebody else didn't have a friend. I would be their friend. It would make my social, you know, stock plummet, but I didn't care. You know, I was always like that. And I was really into sports, but I was no good. I was always picked last for teams and, you know, all of those kind of things. So it was hard when you're like that. And I started to get a little OCD about, I guess, not wanting to disappoint my parents or be a disappointment. So I would try to be really, really good all the time. And that, I think, also lent itself to a lot of pressure and anxiety levels, and, you know, also helping take care of my brother and sister when I was young. And it's just snowballed until, you know, I'm shoveling that ice cream in my face. And that's what I found that, you know, soothed me, I guess. Because, you know, if you think about it, of course, food is what we associate with all good times. Every good time that I've ever had when I was young, you know, we didn't go a lot of places, but we would have cookouts, or we would have, you know, people around, and we would celebrate like little things like that. So all of that stuff is something that was a really fond memory for me. And I naturally associated good times and good feelings with food. And we've been doing it since time immemorial. You know, that's how humans celebrate: food and drink.
Yeah.
So it's hard then to adopt the mindset that what makes you feel good, what soothes you, is also killing you.
Yeah.
It's hard. And then, you know, to know that it's got such a hold on you that now you're super morbidly obese and you don't want to let it go because you're afraid, you know. So there's all those emotions that go through it.
And I can only imagine like the amount of depression you felt as a child or as a kid. Like I mean, bullying, I'm not for bullying whatsoever. I was bullied at one point in my life, and then I ended up, it was in middle school. I ended up getting fit. Well, pretty fit. I just ran all the time because I wanted to play football, and I was, you know, chubby, played Pokemon cards and whatever else cards that were out there. Anyway, so I ended up getting a little fit and joining football and stuff. And that kind of made my popularity boost a little bit. But I always defended people when they were getting bullied. But I mean, it's like how you learn, you know.
Right.
It's one of those things like you know, I've never been hardcore on drugs or anything, but I know it's wrong, and I've been friends with people that are way, you know, not well off right now, just terrible, down, and, you know, on doing drugs every day and shit. Just people I grew up with and graduated with, and they were top of the class, and now they're just on the street doing drugs, and it's like sucks. But I mean, you know, when you're a part of that, it kind of, if you realize that that's what you don't want or who you don't want to be, then it kind of makes you a better person, you know. So like my kids in He's in second grade, and he experiences bullying every now and then. And every now and then he'll come home and I'll ask how his day is, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, we were talking to this one kid, and he tries to be our friend, but we tell him no, and blah blah." And we kind of push him around a little bit. And I'm like, "You kidding me?" I'll give him a huge lecture on bullying and all that shit. And I'm like, "You remember when you were in first grade and you were getting bullied every fucking day, and that kid punched you a couple times on the school bus, and I told you to fuck him up?" um,
Right.
Yeah, so remember that? Okay, that's who you're being right now towards that kid. And next day, like, it filled my heart. Just next day, comes home, says, "Hey, can we have this kid over for dinner?" And this is his family. I'm like, "Who is that?" And he's like, "Oh, remember that kid I was talking to you about yesterday that we were pushing around? Yeah, he's really nice, and he's a close friend of mine now, and I'd like to invite him over." I'm like, "Yeah, there you go."
Yeah. Would hope that it's a little easier now, since there's been such, a light shined on bullying and all of
Yeah.
these things that, society's changing. Before it was just kind of something that was accepted. You either fight the bully or, whatever. When I was
It's okay if you don't swing first. That's
right. So it was hard for a lot of years.
yeah.
So like I said, I made that change in high school and saved myself for a little while.
Yeah. So did all of that going on, do you have like a long-term goal? Like, I mean, when you graduate high school, or like, this is what I want to be when I graduate, and when I get older, this is who I want to join the military, or anything like that?
I had all that kind of stuff. I've always been that kind of person that wanted to go after things. I had, like I told you, the fast food job, I wasn't making shit for money.
Now they make more.
Just nothing, taking home like $300, it was nothing. And I didn't have a car. My parents did not have the means to buy me one. And also, I got into major debt because I got a credit card when I was like 18 years old with a huge limit on it, and I ran it up. And I was in major debt. And that was another hard lesson, So with my crippling debt, my shit job, I felt stuck in the rut. And I was in that rut for a long time. So I still wanted to make something out of myself. I tried to join the military when I was 18, just before getting out of high school. And okay, so I lose 88 pounds. I want to be in the Army. I contact them. Recruiter comes over, and he was kind of like, "Well, congratulations for losing all your weight, but you're still a little chubby for the military. We want you to lose more." And at the time, I mean, when I was young, I developed a big chip on my shoulder when I was a teenager. So when he told me that, I was immediately irritated. I was kind of like, man, whatever. I've worked my ass off and it's not good enough, and, to hell with it. And around about that time, my knees were starting to give me an issue anyway. So I put that out of my mind and let that be something that I felt like I couldn't have. And so then the next thing I wanted to do was go on to college. So I just went to a community college close to where I live and started taking a public bus and a cab back and forth, trying to get better. I was about 25. And then my sister called me one day, and she opened up the door for me to be in dental. And that's where I am now. And that just ended up growing to, I'm a surgery dental assistant in pediatrics. So I work at Nationwide Children's Hospital in Columbus. And I love that job. It's great. But right before I took that position, the military came back around into my life in an interesting way. And I wanted something different from where I was currently employed. And I saw that they were looking for a dental assistant for the Army. And I thought, man, I would love to do that. You know, I didn't have that chip on my shoulder anymore. And, you know, I've done all this work on myself. And so I applied. And he contacted me, and I was about almost 40. So 39, 40 in a few weeks. And I told him, I said, is this active duty? He said, yeah. And I said, well, I can't do that. I'm 39 years old. You know, I'm past the cutoff.
Yeah.
But because I was already trained in dental, they were willing to bend the rules for Army Reserve if I wanted to do it. So I said, yeah, I'll do it, you know. And there was a lot of things, you know, of course your physical fitness and your BMI and all these things have to be on point. And there was a lot of physical aspect to it that I can do, and was good to go. I mean, the mental tests and all those stuff, good, you know. So here I am, I'm really pumped, and I'm thinking I'm going to be, you know, finally in the military. And he's like, you could switch from Army Reserve to active duty if you want to, blah, blah, blah. So he really, I mean, I was gassed up. And I'm like, oh, yes, finally. No, it didn't happen because I've got congenital deformities in both my kneecaps, and it's a no-go. Automatic DQ.
Even though you can do everything.
Even though I can do like the flexed arm hangs and the sit-ups and the push-ups and all those things that they wanted me to do, automatic DQ. So at first I was like, again, but I feel like that was a little detour that was meant to happen, because when it happened, it sent off another light bulb that I really needed at the time. And I had already been kind of struggling a little bit accepting even my new body image, which I can get into more later, but I was really struggling with that in spite of all the good that I have done for myself. But here I was at 40, that even though I didn't make it into the military, I took myself from a 56 BMI, off the chart, super morbidly obese, down to something that where I'm fit enough technically to be in the military at 40 years old. And I thought that's why he was meant to see that, because then at that point, then I felt proud of what I had done. And that it forced me to kind of be pleased with myself, because honestly, I hadn't been, you know, riding this big wave of success up until that point. I just kind of was always diminishing my success. Everybody was, you know, you should be really proud of yourself and all those things. And I was, but also I didn't want a big head. I didn't want to, you know, get super cocky and shit and all this other stuff. So I just kept it real. No, it's okay. You know, I'm fine. And that moment, it made me feel really good about what I had done.
Like,
yeah, at that point. And I needed that at the time. Like I said, I was really, you know, having a hard time with my body still. So it was a good detour. And then I accepted the position in dental surgery, and, you know, that's what I do now, and I love it.
That's a crazy gig you got there, pulling people's shit out.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're wearing your PPE every single day of your life.
Yeah, you're already used to it. You're good.
I am, yeah. So, yeah, I love it, though. I really do.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a really good career. I had a couple friends that went into that, and they're doing awesome. They love it. They never a dull moment, they say.
Yeah, no, it is not.
Mm.
It isn't.
Yeah.
You see all kinds of stuff.
And, I mean, it's got to be relieving to see someone with a fucking disgusting mouth come in, and then you're the one that makes the change for them, you know. Well, and then they come in like,
look at this, before and after. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But all right, so you keep talking about the image you had afterwards,
Mm-hmm.
and how you thought about that. You want to go into a little detail about that?
Yeah, and some of the stuff, I don't know if it makes it, some of the stuff ties into some of the questions that I think I had kind of seen. So I don't know, how you wanted to do that, but
I will answer. We'll answer those in a bit.
so yeah, okay, so all right, so here I am, lost all this weight, and one of the fears I already told you, I was afraid to fail. And then the other second fear that I had was I was afraid of having a lot of excess skin on my body. And that happened. I was always told, no, you're not going to have it. You're young. It's going to just bounce back. It did not bounce back. Yeah. So I had to deal with that. And I did. And so then, you would think that I should be, flying high, feeling great. Excess skin is gone. It didn't really happen that way, because the one thing that I did the whole time to do this is I had a constant bullying mindset that, I already told you that it was just constantly in my mind, do this, do this, do this. I get done, and then I'm like, for all of these years, you have been working towards a goal, and now you've reached the goal. And then I started to feel like, fuck, what am I going to do now? I mean, I'm fine if I'm working towards something, but now, I mean, freedom felt like terrifying. Actually, it felt like now I'm not going to have something to work towards. So what if I start, relaxing too much and start, thinking I can eat this and eat that again, and I start, ballooning back up. So I need another goal. So I started to look at competition. Yeah. And I thought, that's a good goal. I could, try to get as lean as I possibly can, and maybe one day step on stage. So I started trying to do that. Well, I struggled with the fact that I still have a little bit of excess skin on my body. I didn't have it all removed. 20 pounds was taken off, but I still have a little more. And the leaner that you get, you still look like really loose in certain areas. And that was disappointing. And then I started comparing myself to some of these women who were actually in competition and looked great. And I'm looking at all these Instagram models and all these other women who are phenomenal athletes. And, I'm comparing what I see on Instagram to what I see in the mirror. And all I could see was flaws. Every little thing, it was not, my eyes did not see the good that I'd done. All it was seeing was the work that I still needed. And the more that I would try to do it, it seemed like I was just spinning my wheels. And I was putting on muscle, but my body still wasn't looking the way that I was hoping that it was going to look after everything that I had done, and that started to make me feel a little depressed too. And when that happened, my binge eating came back full force. And it brought along with it purge as well, which was new.
Like so movie purge, like going around killing people?
No. Like purging, like throwing up.
And I get it.
I know. It's like, that'd be the only thing. No. Yeah. So then I had that to deal with. And that was what I was struggling with the most when the military came around into my life the second time. So it was just pick constantly. And nothing was ever good enough, and so that's kind of where I just stayed, like a limbo that I stayed in for a while, was, seeing what I wanted and not seeing it happen. And then I went right back down to where I should have been, like, feeling great about stuff. I was not, But around about this time, I had decided that I wanted to be a personal trainer, because I did have people, mainly women, who wanted to do what I'd done. And I wanted to teach them what I'd done. I wanted to help people. And so I went ahead and got certified. And I took on a few clients, and, you know, obese women was kind of my bread and butter for a while. And little did they know, though, that I was struggling with my own body images still, you know, and this whole like eating disorder that had started to come back into my life, just thanks to my, you know, skyrocketing anxiety. So I wrestled with being a fraud in my mind. You know, here I am trying to teach women to do what I do, but do it better by kind of lending my mistakes and things that I've learned over the years to that and to help them. But then, you know, having this like kind of like secret shame in the back.
Yeah.
That was another thing that was kind of a mind fuck too, because it was all kind of this big anxiety cluster that was just escalating. So that was another thing that was really hard to deal with.
Yeah, that's nuts. Just came back full force, and yeah. So, how much weight did you gain after it came back?
So it's kind of hard to know for sure, because at the same time that I was doing this, I was also hitting PRs in the gym for when I was lifting all the time. You know, I would do something else, and then, you know, a couple of and I would hit another PR. So here I am building all this crazy muscle while I'm also trying to restrict my calories back, because I would, you know, freak out and eat half of a cake.
Mm-hmm.
Just to try to soothe some of this anxiety, and then I want to, you know, throw it up. So here I am. I was just kind of the cycle. And then, so the binging comes back, and when I used to be able to walk past a cake or a plate of cookies or whatever without breaking stride, now all of a sudden I want it bad. And it's just almost something that felt like it was not even, I was in control of it anymore. It was kind of, you know, I've never been a drug addict or an alcoholic, but I can only compare it possibly to the want of that, because it was really, really strong. And
I mean, addiction's addiction, you know.
right. But yeah. Food addiction is a little weird though, because, you know, you can live without alcohol and drugs, and, you know, if you're an addict, you're supposed to, you know, you're supposed to never touch the stuff again. That's the point. Yeah. But when you're addicted to food, it's kind of like, all of this food over here, this is bad, 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 bad. This is poison. All this food over here is good. So just stay over here in your lane and you're fine. And then someone's birthday rolls around, and it's kind of like, well, you can't live that way forever, and someone's passing you cake or, you know, a soda or something. It's like, you need to learn to have both. And it's the one addiction that you need it to survive. And, you know, you're encouraged to find a balance. Nobody's encouraged to find a balance with their drug of choice. You know what I mean? You just cut it out and that's that. But food, it's totally different. So it's hard. And so, you know, I had restricted all of that stuff for so long. Anxiety builds. It also kind of combined with a perfect storm of seasonal depression that I get. And next thing I know, I've got a cake at work, and I'm supposed to be seeing patients, and I'm not. I'm in the break room, literally eating gobs of cake barehanded. I've got frosting all over my fingers. I had a little bit on my head. I had crumbs on my safety glasses. Like literally, I was like, no.
I got a mental picture.
Right, just like this, you know, just this monster, and that's what I felt like. And in that moment, I felt on autopilot. I felt like I was not in control of what I was doing. And then it clicks. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck did I just do? You literally ate all of your calories that you set for yourself for the day and probably the week, you know? And so I start to panic, and I panic bad. And the only thing I could think of to do at that moment because I've got to get this out of my body. I've got to get it out. I got to throw it up. And so, again, still supposed to be seeing patients, and I walk into the ladies' room, and I'm on my knees in the John, and I'm, fingers down my throat. I'm trying to get this out. And the act of, one, deciding that I'm going to vomit it up, and also the act of trying makes my anxiety just drop. And I start to feel relief. And then it's not coming out. So I'm ashamed to say it, but I'm grabbing objects like toothbrushes and stuff, and I'm trying to jab it down my throat to, work it out, and it's not happening. And I go into the kitchen, I make a concoction of just disgusting stuff to try to vomit it up, and I drink it, and it's horrible. And I'm gagging, and I've got blood coming out, in my throat because I've now scratched it with the objects that I've stuck down there. No vomit. So at that moment, anxiety sky high again, and I'm in tears, and I'm like, oh my God, what are you fucking doing? You are literally on your knees trying to make yourself throw up because you ate cake? Like, what are you doing? My makeup's running down my face, and it's just a horrible feeling. I know it's this complete loss of control is all I can say.
You're at work, and I'm sure people are.
Yeah, and then people are like, where the hell are you? What are you doing? And I'm like, oh, this, I can't stop eating dessert. It was just, I can laugh about it now, but at the time it was so gripping to me and shameful at the same time. Shameful. You're a 40-year-old woman, or almost 40-year-old woman. What are you doing? And so then, that had happened a couple more times, and I tried to, get help. I'd spoke to people, and that's when I had gotten diagnosed for the binge eating disorder that I had. Since I hadn't really done a lot of purging, it was kind of a binge and purge, but mostly binge. Unfortunately, hospitalization for that is something that can be sketchy with insurance, and it's very, 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 very costly. So anybody that's struggling with that, reach out to me and I can kind of help you through that. But it's hard to get real help for it. But I felt like I was falling apart. I felt the lowest that I had felt prior to losing all of that weight. I felt depressed. I felt, like I said, like a fraud, because I'm still training, these women who are looking to me to kind of bring them out of what they're going through. And I'm having to try to be strong for them and be an example for them. At the same time, I'm over here falling apart.
Yeah, you're not being an example for yourself.
Exactly. And I'm like, why can you not practice what you preach? It's like, better than all of this, So then the punishment started. It's like, okay, well, you can't vomit it up. Now you're going to have to take your ass into the gym, because we're not going to live with, 3,000 calories worth of cake just floating around our system. We're not going to do that. So I would go and I would work all day, and I would train clients, and then I would hit like an hour's worth of cardio, like vigorous cardio. And then I would pull about 90 minutes worth of weight. By that time, I was so damn tired. I ended up getting hurt, because even though I know better and I know what overtraining looks like, here I am doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm physically running myself into the ground. And I would do 2-a-days. Holidays would come, Thanksgiving or whatever. I would barely eat anything, and I'm, going to the gym before the meal and after the meal. And eating Greek yogurt for my birthday, and those kinds of things. And what I had loved about the gym and how it made me feel and how it makes us all feel now started to feel horrible. It was a punishment, and I was putting this punishment on myself because I can't get a grip on reality, and the reality of keeping your anxiety in check and not stuff in your fucking face. You know, now I feel just terrible all around. Like, I'm like, what in the actual fuck has happened to you? You know, here you are, you know, everybody thinks it's this rock star of, you know, an example of beating the odds and losing all of this weight, and you can't get your fucking life together. It was really defeating.
Yeah.
And I lent myself, and I did it at my own hand, and I lent myself to it, you know.
Well, you know what they say is you're your biggest critic, and that's
yeah. And I am absolutely my biggest critic.
Yeah. Where are you at now compared to? No, not where you're at.
Oh, mentally? Oh, sorry. Like, where are you? I'm at my fucking house, Steve. No. So, right. So, okay. So then the military thing, the second round of that came around, and that was a good pivot. I started to kind of take a step back and re-examine myself and re-examine my mindset. And I started to see that all of the accomplishments that I've had, all of the success that I've built for myself. I mean, because I bought a home and I got my career together. You know, I'm no longer a fast food worker. I'm not, you know, this morbidly obese can't load that can't get a date. And, you know, I don't live at home with my parents, and I have a car, and I have, you know, all of these things. And you did it all by yourself, by working your ass off. All of these things were great. But let's take back. We gotta dial it in. We gotta look and see what's going on, you know. And I started to see that the attitude that I started with about don't get cocky, bitch, just because you lost all this weight doesn't make you, you know, you're literally two decisions away from being right back, you know, the way that you were. Change your diet back and stop exercising, and here you are. So you're no different than all the other people that are struggling. So don't get fucking cocky. That mindset that drove this whole process also poured cold water on it, in that, you know, people are always going to be hoping for your downfall a lot of times. Not everybody, but there are people out there that, you know, don't want you to succeed, and, you know, think that you're now too good, or you're, you know, all these different kinds of attitudes. And my defeating attitude, I've diminished everything that I had worked for. I was diminishing it. I was putting out that fire because I didn't want to be cocky, you know. But I'm like, that's not who you are. You're not cocky anyways. And the proof of it is that you're over here trying to help women or men that want to do what you've done. So you've already extended your hand. Why are you doing the work for somebody, you know, who wants to diminish what you've done? You're doing it for them. You're being your own hater. You're destroying everything that you've built, and you're attacking yourself, and you're attacking your body for all these little tiny flaws that mean nothing to nobody. Because when everybody looks at you, all they see is the miraculous thing that you've done. And you're over here bitching because you can pinch skin like that on your torso, or that, you know, you're flicking your bat wing over here and then nobody else sees but you, you know. So I started to kind of to check myself, and then I was like, you know what, you need to remember who the fuck you are, because that badass attitude that you have, that needs to come back. Okay, we need to bring that back in here.
Reel it in.
Need to get a fucking grip right now.
Yeah.
So I did. So I've always been, you know, my biggest critic, but also my biggest support, you know. So I've always tell people I got a war in my mind at all times. A good, you know, good cop, bad cop, always.
Yeah.
The bully, you know, rides a little strong for the most part. The dominant side. I have a softer side in there too, but it's a little more quiet.
It's one of those like little demons and the angel.
Exactly. But they both look like me. I'm over here like you fucking bitch. Oh, you're so nice. Like, I mean, it's just my face is on both of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So when I dialed it back and I started to put that all in perspective for myself, then I started to feel better. Then that, I started to breathe again. And, when that anxiety that I had and I kind of worked through those things, the anxiety that I was feeling there for a while, kind of went away. And when that went away, the binge went away.
Yeah.
And then I learned how to have something in my house like a candy bar and not feel like I have to run to it. I started to try to work through my black and white view of eating. These foods good, these foods bad. There is no in between. I started to work on the balance. And that was one of the biggest challenges right there. It was fine to keep things black and white and do that weight loss thing, but now we have to really live. And now we have to have a sustainable way of viewing food, something that's healthy, something that, you're not destroying yourself mentally over because you had a cookie, and that whole, oh my God, I ruined my diet thing. And I had to learn that the scale is just a tool and it's not your life. And, everybody's going to want little things about their body that they might want to change, but it's not the end of the world if you don't change it.
Yeah.
So I started to have this more of a self-love attitude that I'd never had before, ever in my life. And only now is it coming into it. And I'm sad that it's taken me 41 years to start to finally feel like I've had some self-love, that, I lost a lot of time hating myself or feeling disgust for who I was. Even though I was a good person, even though I was, generous and all of these other things and really caring for everybody else, it was never going to care for me. So I lost a lot of time, a lot of years, in the hate of all of that. But it's come around. And now that it's here, it's always a learning experience. And then that's one thing I love about our group, the demo crew, is because one, it's a platform for all of us to kind of get our stories out there. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. I think that, I personally draw a lot of inspiration from you and from, all of our other members, all the stuff that they say and they do, and, everything that they've got to bring to the table, because I don't know it all. And I'm not going to sit here and admit that I do, but we all bring something to the table.
Yeah.
Dean, posted about that the other day. And I love that, so that for me has been, a way to, it's a tool for me to kind of see how people are doing it, how they're, going through navigating this whole, fitness world and, as an individual, and drawing, lessons from everybody.
Yeah.
And it helps me reflect what they say, what everybody says in the group. I reflect that on my own life. And I think, wow, that really applies to me, or wow, they're struggling just as much as I am. Maybe we can help each other. So it's been really, really helpful in kind of the healing of my self-esteem. And, I've always been kind of a fake it till you make it, which I know people say it's garbage advice, but honestly, that's kind of how I feel about myself. It's kind of like fake self-confidence until you actually get it, So it's been a struggle, but boy, has it fucking taught me some real lessons the whole entire time.
See, now, like, everything that you've been through, like, I mean, you're saying that, you completed it all at like 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
But really, I mean, it's just begun, because now all that you've just been through your whole 40 years, you're going to see somebody beginning that, and you're going to be like, no, this is what I've done. This is what I've been through. Listen to the CRAV'IN IRON podcast. And,
Right.
but I mean, you can help them so they don't have to do that. Or if they're in the middle of that, you can guide them in the right direction at an early age. So you can save people, save
Absolutely.
people's future.
Absolutely. And that's, each one teach one.
Mm-hmm.
So you get ahead and, you turn around and extend your hand to the next person in line, help them out. So, that's always what I wanted to do. Whether I was doing it right, I don't know, but
Yeah.
just that's why I was appreciative of the opportunity to come on here and say this, because, I've never been a person that wants to do the blah, 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 tell my story to everybody for the fact that, I don't give a fuck about, followers or whatever, that, it's nice, but I don't care about gaining an audience. I don't care about being an influencer or anything like that. The only thing is, I know that there's going to be somebody on the other end of this that's going to hear it, and something that I say is going to, they're going to feel that, and hopefully, say if she can do it, I can do it, or, she's going through it, I don't have to be so quiet about it, because you always feel like you're the only one that's going through this kind of stuff, and you never are.
You never are.
No, you're not. For the longest time, I thought I was the only kid that was tortured in school. I'm not. Everybody, everybody's experienced that. It sucks that there's so many people that experience the exact same thing, but you feel alone at the time. So the more that I talk about the story and the more I tell the story, it's all in the hopes that it might help somebody else,
Yeah.
Definitely something that's possible.
And that's like my goal with this is like, I mean, I don't have like this big transformation story or a big story at all, but I do like helping people when they need it. And like, this is like, I feel like the best way I can do it is help you guys do it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah.
And it's great. It's huge. It's huge for us. Everybody's got a story to tell, and if it's an outlet it's a platform for that to happen.
Yeah.
As this gets bigger, people will see it, and they're going to see all these great stories of all of us. People have done pretty amazing things, and I
everybody from all aspects, just different aspects of life, different hardships, and hardworking motherfuckers, survivors in what Seth Rosie says, the jungle.
That's right. Best of best. That's what I say.
We're our own personal Tarzans. Or Jane.
Fucking roughnecks.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we'll get to the questions now. I think, and by the way, your story is fucking intense. Like, you've been through a lot, and I just got to say, I'm glad you've been through everything that you've been through. Like, I mean, I'm glad that you've survived it, because there's people that just at your starting point when you're overweight, there's people that have lost their lives because they didn't decide to take that extra step to, change when you have. So I'm happy for you. That's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, I really hope that this is going to hit that one person that actually needs it, so they can decide to make that little change in their life. And then I hope they reach out to you, because
I hope you do. I'm always open to help anybody.
Yeah.
A little, I can't physically smack, a Snicker bar out of your hand, but.
No, you can.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you can. Take that back. But, I mean, I guess if you're across the country, I'd make that long drive. What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, I saw your credit card bill. You bought a Snickers, huh? You're not touching that.
Right. Yeah. Listen, asshole.
I'll be there in 2 days.
Right.
All right. So, questions. You ready?
Yes.
All right. There's some intense ones, and there's
some really good ones on here. I was enjoying some of these.
Yeah. So, for anybody that doesn't know, every time, let me change things. So every time I do this podcast, I end up I posted on Facebook, I posted on the Axe and Sledge page, and then I posted on the Demo Crew page. And for those of you that don't know, Axe and Sledge Supplements, Seth Rossi's company, 40H, and the Demo Crew is the ambassador team for that company, and best supplements on the market. Fucking amazing. But what I like about it and what the Demo Crew is just a whole bunch of hardworking motherfuckers that have like the same goal, and that's to better their lives and to fuck shit up in the gym every day, and just be a hardworking motherfucker, a roughneck, all American. Anyway, so this one's from the Axe and Sledge page right here. Questions. There's your transformation there.
Mm-hmm.
And that nice smile of yours.
Hello.
All right. So Nat Lyons, Demo Crew member. Who or what is your biggest motivation / inspiration?
Well, I would say that in the very beginning of it, my biggest motivation was to not die. Like I, told you back when I was sitting there in the hospital and I saw what it did to a human life to live that way and how it can be cut short, and also what it does to the people who love you. It felt incredibly selfish to me. And, I always have these visions of being this big bloated body at the end of my life and being, not even having dignity in afterlife because I need a double plot. And that was enough to motivate me to start. But it's been it's changed. It's had a metamorphosis, I guess, if you will, over the course of it, because, okay, the not dying thing, that was the trigger. Hatred and disgust was in the middle. I would think about every comment, every remark that I've ever endured, who said it, what they said. That would go through my mind when I felt weak and felt like I didn't want to continue on, couldn't take one more step, couldn't, pull no more weight, whatever I was trying to do. I would think about that. I would think about, how much I hated myself, how disgusted I felt with my existence. And I'm just being really, really real. And there was a whole lot of self-hate and self-loathing that would go through my mind, and I used it as fuel, like a fucking powder keg, to power through, those times of feeling like I didn't want to go to the gym or I was being a baby. And then it changed. Now it keeps me going is love. Love for the gym, love for what we do on a day-to-day basis, love for myself and the life that I've created for myself. And, I wake up now and I feel great. I feel happy. I feel, ready to, we all say kick the day in the dick, but, I'm ready to do that on a, I have this come at me now, bro, attitude all the time.
Catch me outside with that.
Yeah. So that's what keeps me going. It's just because I love it. I love the feel of a workout and how, it makes me feel afterwards. And it's, a joy to do that. And I feel blessed that I'm able to work out when I know that there's people who want to and they physically can't. I physically can. And so, I feel blessed to be able to do that. So that's the way that the motivation has started, and that's kind of how it's changed over the years.
Well,
yeah.
No, it does.
Yeah.
There you go, Nat Lions. Next one, Sean Wilson. He's actually a Demo Crew Elite 8 member. How have you overcome the weight loss? There are insecurities that stick with us after transformations. How do you face those days? And he actually had a transformation of himself too.
He did, yes, and that was awesome as well. So props to you, John. I loved this question when I saw it. I really did, because I remember everything about being fat. Like I said, I remember my 4-inch lap. I remember having my heart go up to about 182 beats when I first stepped on the treadmill at the lowest incline and the lowest speed, just walking. And, a few minutes in, and my ears plugged and my eyes started to get tunnel vision, and I was about to pass out. I remember all of that. And I remember that as I would move on in relationships and things like that, I was still insecure, even though I was losing weight or had lost it. I would recoil when somebody would touch me. And that was something that I always would have to explain, that, I couldn't stand the feeling of being touched when I was in that body. I didn't want any man's hands fumbling over fat folds. It was repulsive to me, and that didn't go away immediately. I always say that the brain takes a little while to catch up with the body. And I have a feeling of phantom fat, I guess you could say. And that, what I would describe that as kind of like what I can imagine it feeling like if you lost a arm or a leg. You almost feel that appendage there. And there's moments where I will feel a little bit like I could feel fat on my body move. Like I remember showering and turning in the shower, and my, back or hip or something would rub the door or the shower curtain. And, every once in a while I'll turn a certain way, and for a split second I could feel it. And that has taken a while to go away. I could, started, I already kind of explained the bully side, and my learning process with it, but that was probably the last thing that I kind of had to get over, because that bully, that dominant side of me, was push all the time. And finally my softer side's kind of like, okay, well, are you ever going to be satisfied? Are you ever going to be happy? And that was enough to make me kind of take a step back, like I described. And so it's been this whole long process of my mind catching up with my body, and then learning to accept the whole package, the whole thing. So the insecurities really took forever to disappear. And I don't know that they actually completely have. I have my days for sure, but when I am having those days, I just try to be kinder to myself. Something that I wasn't ever good at before is just this kindness, taking maybe a rest if I feel tired, or, treating myself to something, like I pigged out on my birthday here just a couple weeks ago. It was great, where I wouldn't have done that before. So I try to, overcome all of that, by trying to find some balance in my life.
Oh, and then look where you are now.
Right.
Looks like
on the podcast. Yeah.
you're succeeding so far. All right. That was a good one, John. Good job. Ariel Bunch, another demo crew member.
Mm-hmm.
What does a day look like in the life of Kristi?
Girl, I live a boring life.
Doesn't sound like it. Jesus.
Kind of. I mean, I don't know. A typical day, I don't do anything exciting, honestly. I get up about 3:30 in the morning. I get ready for work. I drive an hour to my job. I typically pull at minimum a 10-hour shift. If I'm lucky, minimum. And then I drive an hour home. I usually will go to the gym after that, and then I repeat the same thing the next day. I do that all the time. But when I do want to have some fun, I'm a outdoorsy type of girl. I enjoy the country. I enjoy, my fishing and, being out on the water. And I like adventure a lot. So, whitewater rafting or parasailing or, cruising a jet ski around, all of those sort of things. I really enjoy a whole lot of stuff. It's just me in my life. I don't have any children, and I don't have, I'm not married. So some of those things you kind of need somebody else for, I suppose, to make it a little more enjoyable. So at the moment, I'm just kind of, doing my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're not married, huh?
Nope.
Hey, there's all those lucky guys out there. They're going to watch this, and you're probably going to get a whole bunch of phone calls. I apologize for that.
That's okay. Don't be married, though, please. Just
Oh, don't be married if you call it.
Don't be married. Don't be married if you reach out. Please don't.
Yeah. That's about that.
No.
All right. So this one's the next one here. This is the demo crew page. All the demo crew members. These guys are blowing up my messenger.
Mm-hmm. That's the shenanigans.
Oh, yeah. They're just talking shit and whatever else they're saying. So anyways. All right. I think I got all the comments up. So this was probably one of my favorite ones because it was the first one that popped up. And it's funny that we were talking about marriage and guys hitting you up and stuff. Here you go. Here's the first one. All right, let's fucking go. Here comes another intensely epic one. It's actually pretty intense, if you ask me. All right, my question is, have you ever been asked on a date in the gym? And if you said yes, what approach did the guy take asking for a friend?
On that. No, actually, I have not ever been asked out in the gym. I feel like, I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but I feel like there's kind of an unwritten, creeper rule that, if somebody's working on at the gym, you kind of don't really mess with that.
It's kind of like one of those unsaid boundaries you don't cross.
Yeah, you just don't. I don't know. Like, I just feel like I don't really see anybody, macking on a girl. I don't know if people even say macking anymore, if I'm showing my age, but I don't.
I say macking.
Do you? Okay.
It's the boomer talking.
Right. But I don't ever see that going on anywhere in the gym. Now, do I check guys out? Yeah. On the sly, maybe a little peep, a little side eye, kind of. But I don't ever approach them and ask them out on a date. And yeah, I just don't go there, and nobody really goes there with me. So
it's one of those things like when you're at the gym, you're gonna smell, you're gonna be sweaty.
Yeah, I look pretty gross when I'm working out.
Yeah,
I got that look on my face, that intense look, and my earbuds are in, and I'm doing my right, like you're taking a shit, and my earbuds are in, and I'm in the zone. So
yeah, I don't know if I have a taking a shit look on my face, but I might. Maybe when
or taking a shit noises or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not the most romantic place to meet somebody. Maybe it's fun.
Right. Breathing heavy. I don't know. No.
Yeah, no, Nat, sorry. Yeah. No pointers, buddy. You're just gonna have to wing it.
No.
All right. Martin. Martin, good luck on your journey with your chemo. He's doing a second batch of chemo right now.
Blessings.
Yes. Never hardworking motherfucker right there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I probably call him out every time or on every podcast just because I love that guy. He's a fucking
Yeah, you kind of know the story.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He does. So anyways, good luck, Martin. Keep it up, dude. So he says, right on. What kept you motivated during your transformation? I think you covered that. How did you come across Axe and Sledge? I was going to ask you that, but I knew it was on here like 4 times. So,
so I was already following Seth. I found Seth on, probably all found Seth the exact same way. I found him on Instagram. Back when I was considering trying the whole competition thing, I started to try to, follow other people who, maybe they were IFBB pros or they were amateur pro, weightlifters and all of those kind of things. I'd gone to the Arnold. I met him a couple of times. He probably doesn't remember that. But yeah, so I was already following Seth, even, back when he didn't have his companies. And then I started, my first thing I was in the AAR. That was the first, I guess, customer, thing that I got some AAR stuff. And then, he came out with Axe and Sledge. And so it was kind of a natural thing for me to try. I'm like, oh, okay, well, Seth Feroci's name's on it, so it's got to be good.
Yeah. If it's good for Bob, it's good for everybody.
That's right.
All right. Let's see. I want to just see if. Okay, this one's not on there, but I have a question for you. So you followed Axe and Sledge, then you joined the demo crew. Now, after you joined the demo crew, how did that? I think I might have covered this, but how did that like change your life?
So yeah, it's just, I mean, especially now, there's so much negativity, especially like, see social media and the news and everything else. We're just inundated with bad news all the fucking time. So it's actually a bright spot in my day to jump on our page and kind of see what everybody's into and see what they're up to. And then they're good news. I mean, people are having babies and buying houses and sick ass trucks and, putting up these workout videos and, their own transformation videos. And you're going to go on the demo crew page and you're going to find some inspirational shit. You're going to hear TD on there with, his herds and right, you're gonna hear old Tony Davis on there, and I just draw a lot from that. Like I said, I take so much from our group page on a daily basis that it's literally one of the best things and something I frequent throughout my day, going on our page and just surrounding myself with some positive vibes that we're not going to find really anywhere else. And we're all like-minded, and everybody loves that. We all have the hard-working motherfucker mindsets, and I love that. And, that helps me stay on this positive path that I'm finally starting to get on. Everybody can use some more positivity in their life. Everybody can use a little bit more love. And even though we're all in different, parts of the world and the country or whatever, I can feel all that, when we're supporting each other, we're commenting on each other, even the newbies, welcome to the family, all of these things, welcome to the crew. Who couldn't use more love like that in their life and more inspiration. So that's the biggest thing that I get out of it. And also, you know, like I said, it affords me an opportunity to kind of also share my story with everybody else and possibly help somebody who's struggling, possibly help somebody who's right at the beginning of their journey and needs a little bit of a kick in the ass, or maybe be aware of some of the pitfalls that I've, you know, experienced and how I navigated through them. Maybe they can feel that. Maybe they can relate to it. So that's the ways that it's affected me and brought, you know, some good into my life. And I look forward to it every single day.
So yeah, 100% agreed.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. One thing that I love about it is, yeah, you just jump on there and just read comments and stuff. And what inspires me the most about the page is like you'll see someone put something super personal and looking just for advice or just for people to reach out to them.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's there to help. And
Yeah.
like even when I put my personal shit on there, like my issues that I'm going through or whatever, I had people reaching out to me, people calling me, people that have been on the podcast that messaged me saying, "Hey, bro, if you need to talk, I'm here," or "Hey, try this. This might help." It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like a family away from your family. You know what I mean?
Right. It's a phenomenal group of people. And, you know, I really wasn't, you know, I've had issues with Facebook groups in the past, and, you know, not from a trolling aspect, but just because I wasn't really getting anything out of it, that I didn't know what to expect totally when I signed up to join the demo crew. But boy, was I pleasantly surprised, because from the moment I entered into the page, I was just like, Jesus, these are some of the best people you ever want to come across.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not ass kissing anybody. It's just a fact. It is an amazing group of human beings. And
Now you have people like meeting up. You know what I mean? It's nice.
everywhere. I mean, I would be looking forward to, you know, a demo crew meetup. I know there's been talks of that on the page. I am always down to do that. But yeah, it's just fucking amazing. I just love it. I really do.
Yeah. All right. So, Joey Brooks, you can be any superhero or villain for a week. Who would it be and why?
I had to think on this one for a minute, but because I've not really been a superhero-y type of person, I guess. If you're talking about like comic book heroes,
I don't think it matters. Like a comic book or like
or otherwise,
or otherwise, if you consider
real
like
life superhero.
yeah.
I mean, in real life, I'd always want to be the person to at least just help somebody out. So, I mean, that's, I guess, heroic. I always wanted to serve our country. You know, there's heroism in that, of course. You know, so obviously those real life situations, I've always had a strong pull to be a part of something big and be a part of, especially if it was going to help others. I always wanted to do that. But I took this more of a comic book, you know, kind of a flavor to it. So the only comic book anything that I ever got into when I was younger was X-Men. And that mostly come from my little brother. He's 6 years younger than me. And in the 90s, I don't know if y'all remember this, 90s kids, but there was that X-Men cartoon on Fox on Saturdays.
Yep.
And I still remember the opening theme and everything. And we would watch that together. Even though I was a teenager, I would watch it with my little brother every single Saturday. He looked really forward to it. He'd let me know what was coming on, and we would, you know, sit down. And so I thought about those characters and the ones that I kind of really dug. And Phoenix from the Phoenix Saga, it wasn't really I mean, she inhabited Jean Grey, or it did, you know, it took on that host.
Yeah.
But I always thought the power of that thing was like really awesome. So, and then plus we all know what a Phoenix is, or, you know, give an idea of it. So I thought that was always kind of bitching. And Storm was my other character that I really dug, and I just thought she was just, the way her eyes would just white out, and she would just fly up and you know, start controlling all the elements and all of those kind of things. I was just like, man, that's badass. So I always thought she was cool, and yeah. So I guess those are the two. Phoenix is kind of, I mean, did turn to a villain, I guess. You know,
she got possessed.
Yeah. So that's where I was at with that question.
All right. I'd pick John Wick. Yep.
Yeah, I never seen those movies, so don't throw stuff at me.
What?
Right? No, I really haven't.
Next, you're gonna tell me you don't eat bacon.
Well, yeah, I do.
Oh, okay. Thank God.
I'm only half bad.
Oh my gosh. This hurt. All right. Billy. So, what's the best advice you've been given, and who gave you the advice?
The advice, word for word, is learn how to fight your own battles, Kristi. And my mother told me that when I was in second grade. And that is something that has taken on so many different meanings over the course of my life, be it, you know, actually the bullies when I was a kid, and to, you know, my own internal battles, to even like, you know, adulting battles with, you know, debt and all those kind of things. I never asked anybody for any kind of fucking help, and I learned real early on that nobody owes you shit. And every single thing, you are a better person if you are out there getting yours on your own and not stepping on other people to get it, you know? So those two things, I took to heart that advice, and I, you know, that was just huge for me. It was really scary at first when she said it, though. I do remember, because, you know, up until that point, you know, it felt like she kind of was taking on those battles for me when I was a little kid. And, you know, somebody would pick on me and she'd want to, you know, go off about it or whatever. And that got old, I guess. Or I think she was just trying to teach me a lesson. But I panicked because I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? Like, you know, I have to do something on my own. And boy, was that literally just the best advice.
All right. And so I don't know if you understand, it's kind of like an inside joke, the new questions.
No, I didn't.
Okay.
No, I didn't pick up on that. Yeah.
So this guy, Billy. Okay, Billy copies and pastes these questions right here that Nat put on every podcast for the past like 3 or 4 podcasts.
Way to be lazy, Billy.
Yeah, well, so the last podcast I read the questions. I'm like, come on, man, you got to pick new questions. Like, stop copying and pasting. So, anyways, he said new question, and he put a new question. Then Nat Lyons, the one that I actually said, hey, come on, Billy, new questions. That his podcast, Nat Lyons is. Yeah, well, Nat ended up copy and pasting the questions for him.
Gotcha.
This podcast wouldn't be right without. Billy's questions. Ridiculous. All right. So anyways, we'll go through them because, you know, sorry, Billy, Nat got you on that one. So
yeah.
What got you interested in the brands, All-American Roughneck, Action Sledge, and American Made Nutrition, which are, if people don't know, which I probably repeated it every podcast, but owned by the same people.
Yep. So, really, I mean, I know we kind of touched on this, but like I said, I was following Seth, and the thing about Seth, I think that attracts so many people to him, and his personality, obviously the phenomenal shape that he's put himself in, and anybody who wants to go down that road, but his no bullshit approach to, you know, steroid use and what that's gonna, you know, how that's gonna change your body. And the amount of work that you have to put in order to reach your goals, not only fitness, of course, but also in life. And just like he tells it how it is. And people love his intensity and they gravitate towards that. And I'm one of them, because this is a whole other podcast in and of itself, but there is a phenomenon in America, and I will tell you, it is called the pussification of the American male. Write it down, because that's exactly what it is. And there's a whole lot. Exactly. It is a whole, like I said, it's a whole other podcast in and of itself. But I'm watching him and I'm thinking, oh my God, finally there's a dude that, actually makes some sense and actually, acts like a man. And I feel like, at least in my neck of the woods, there's, a shortage of that kind of. And I'm a woman that appreciates that kind of, manly man type. And for a long time, I'm sitting here like, where the fuck are all the men at? Where's all the hardworking men? And you know what? Lo and behold, here they are in the demo crew.
There you are.
Here y'all are. So, and finally, I was like, Jesus Christ! Such a
took me 40 years to find that. Come on,
40 fucking years, and here I am. Finally, all I had to do was join the demo crew, and but no, just following him and listening to him, and also, okay, I train, but I want to train myself, and some things I've picked up, don't really apply to me so much, being that I'm a woman. Okay. So some things that men will experience or take from stuff that he says, not really so much for me. But I think anybody that listens to, Seth or Dean or Bob, they all have different viewpoints and they all have something to bring to the table. And I think, we all obviously have gravitated towards that and found value in it. So I like the message of the daily message, the message that the company, puts out there, what the companies represent and what they're willing to, put their name on at the end of the day, and the content that they put out and everything that trickles down to all of us members in the demo crew. I always think to myself, I'm only going to back something as long as I believe in it. And I have no problem backing a company or companies like AAR and Axe and Sledge and All American, because I believe in them. I believe in the quality of the products. I sure as hell believe in the message. And, I think that anybody who's out there kind of feeling that same type of message or has something that, relates to being a hardworking motherfucker, this is home. You're going to find a home here. And, they put out quality on top of all of that. So, that is just something that I was always able to get behind. And, it just made sense. It just fit, I'm just like, you watch these guys and you're kind of like, fuck yeah, they make some sense. Or they're, it really resonates with me, what they're saying. So I'm not a dude, but when he's telling somebody, having a good day, if they're having a good dick day, no, I can't relate to a good dick day. Sorry. I'm trying to think of
just like good hair day, like he says.
Right. So, right. But, by and large, I get the message. So, yeah, that's where I was with it, and just getting behind the products and their quality, unparalleled. We've all been through the whole labyrinth of the supplement world. If you've done anything fitness related for any number of years,
supplements because you feel like you're getting used to
it. Yeah. And then you've tried some really shitty things, and maybe it turns you off of supplements or whatever. And anybody that's in the Axe and Sledge group that are up in the air about trying Axe and Sledge, I don't know, just the products are phenomenal. And like we always say, they speak for themselves. And it was just natural to want to back them and take them myself.
Yeah. No competition. None.
No, none. I mean, they're fantastic. The whole company's everything that this company stands for. I mean, my hat's off to you, honestly. Mm-hmm. They're great.
Don't substitute shit. Just high quality, everything. Yeah. All right. So, Mr. William, can you remember the moment the switch flipped and you decided 100% something had to change? I can remember the exact moment for me, and it keeps me going. I think you covered this.
Yep. Death. Yep, death.
Yeah, but William, post your story. I want to know what your flip was, or what your switch was, and what keeps you going. I want to know that. So after you listen to this podcast, I expect to see a post, you son of a bitch.
I do too. I want to know.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Josh, I had him on. Actually, no, he was my last podcast. Yeah.
It was a good one.
It was a good one. It was good. It was mild. That being like, it wasn't like intensified story. We just kind of got to chat, talk about deer hunting. Never got to talk about deer hunting on this before. Nice.
Right.
Like I found a buddy.
Yep.
All right. Anyways, Josh, what did you watch or listen to get motivated for the workout? Did you do any type of fasting or just straight work? Is cereal considered soap? I'll go with the first one first.
So, when I read this, I was guessing that you meant what do I do to get motivated for a workout, or what do I watch or listen to? I've seen, of course, the YouTube videos and, listen to the podcast and all of those things, and they are great. And I like to try, little things, or like even if I see Dean's, IG, workouts or something like that, maybe he's doing an exercise that I haven't actually tried before. I'll give that a try, and I'll be, jazzed to give it a shot. I also see physical feats. We have a member, and I'm sorry I'm blanking on your name, but he does the calisthenics or something, where he's, kind of lifting his whole body up with just his arms, and he's literally parallel to the ground with nothing holding him up but his arms. And that is awesome to me, and I've already told him that, and that I could never do it, I don't think. But I always have this thing that wants to, try.
All right, try it.
I would literally knock my teeth out. I would eat shit so fast. But when I work out, the other thing that obviously keeps me moving and all of y'all moving is music. I'm a huge music fan, and I listen to all different genres, but when I'm moving weights, I prefer metal and rap. It just fuels the fire, I feel like, and I'm sure you all can agree to that. Something that's just nasty, and
you lost me at rap.
At rap?
You lost me at rap. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Did I? You can't get on with not even some Eminem or some old school stuff?
Old school, yeah. Like DMX.
Right. I'm not over here with, I don't even know these freaking new artists now, but I'm sorry. If you're a new rap fan, I can't, I don't even know what to tell you. But this is like, I have some Dre in the headphones sometimes, or, some Tupac, or, something like that going on. I am a fan of Eminem, so I will listen to that.
I'm not a fan of it. I don't know why.
You're not, or you are?
No. I don't know why.
Oh, Steve, I don't even know what to tell you then.
Well, you know what? Okay. You and your no watching my movies, and
that I know. I don't even. Yeah.
American.
I have to watch John Wick, and then you can listen to some Eminem for.
Okay, I'll listen to some Eminem, but you need to watch John Wick. And
all right, deal.
Okay.
Deal.
All right. It's gonna be like.
So yeah, music keeps me going. That's really what I do to stay motivated when I don't feel like it. Also, hydraulic. I'm not gonna lie. Pre-workout is amazing.
Yes.
And that, you know, gets us all going, I'm sure.
Hydraulic never fails.
Never fucking fails. It's amazing.
That's the one thing about this pre-workout, X and Sledge pre-workout. Like, I've tried a lot of pre-workouts in my day, and like, you always feel like you have to switch it or whatever. Never had to switch hydraulic. Change the flavor every now and then,
Yeah.
but
But
always
you have
work.
to take a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So next one, did you do any type of fasting or just straight work? I'm
Just
assuming
straight work, sir.
straight.
Just straight work. It's called don't eat that and move your ass. That's the long and the short of it.
That should be
Literally
on
what
an
all it was.
inspirational greeting card.
Yep. Don't eat that and move your ass.
It's one of those get well soon cards. That's what it's going to be.
Stop disease now. Like
Uh, so is cereal considered soup? No.
I mean, it's cold and you eat it with a spoon and it's got shit floating in it, but
It's
so
not cold.
at first I read it and I was like, no, but I suppose it's like the vichyssoise of the breakfast world, maybe, you know, the gazpacho of of the breakfast aisle, the cold soup, I guess. But I always consider soups to be savory and cereal is sweet for the most part. So, I mean, it's kind of like an animal cracker. It's not really a cracker. It's more of a cookie. So they lost me on the cracker part of it. I don't know if I'm making sense or if I derailed, but I'm going to go with no. It's just cereal.
I agree.
You can eat it dry.
That's true. It's like a snack. But
Yeah.
you put it in with milk.
Yeah. Cinnamon Toast Crunch is basically candy. So.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah. And, okay, anyways. Fucking cereal. Maybe we go talk about cereal. All right. Tony Davis, how has your transformation affected your personal life, just not on fitness, but in mental health and as a parent? P.S. You're fucking killing it.
Thank you, Tony. I appreciate that.
Glad you still have your arm. Good man.
Yep. It has affected my personal life in many ways. It's changing in the world right now, I think, little by little, but for the longest time, being a fat person in America, you were a very large human, but also invisible at the same time. That's how I felt, invisible. It affected my relationships, meaning there wasn't any. I realize that there are men that will date a big woman and be fine with it. I am not fine with it. I accept fat shaming, which is maybe a fucked up thing to say given the fact that I was as large as I was. But I fat shame on a daily basis, not other people, but myself. And I did it when I was fat. And part of that went along with my, relationships. I didn't want a man who wanted a woman that was that big. And if he didn't want me, it made total sense because I didn't want me. I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want your hands fumbling over fat folds. That's repulsive. And if you were attracted to that, it made me think immediately, why? And then that would lead me to my next thought. Is this some kind of weird, fetish or something? And if so, you really lost me, because I have absolutely no desire to be any part of that world in any way, shape, or form. When I lost the weight, it didn't happen overnight where I looked at myself like some, hot thing. Still don't. But, like I said, that, I had an instinct to recoil when I started dating post weight loss, post surgery, that I had to get over, and it didn't take that long, I guess, but that was part of it. So it affected my relationships, and it also affected me not having children. I love children, which is why I'm in pediatrics. And for the longest time, I wanted to be a mother. As I am a big kid, so I bond with kids really quickly. But the thought of being pregnant at 300 pounds was just not something I would even consider at that time. I didn't want a difficult pregnancy and all the health issues that go along with being morbidly obese and pregnant. I did not want to put a baby through that. And also, if I did have, if I did birth the child, I was thinking, you can't even walk on the treadmill more than a few steps without wanting to keel over. How in the hell are you ever going to keep up with a child? And I didn't want them to be, mortified by their giant mother. And, I know that I'm maybe touching a few nerves, and people are in the room are kind of like, wait the fuck up, I'm talking about this strictly from my own perspective and my own thought process. This is what I'm talking on. So I'm not knocking anybody or, in any kind of way. This is just strictly about me. So that's how I viewed me. And I didn't want that for myself. And so, okay, so I, now I'm thin, but now I'm 41. So I wrestle with the fact that, what I want to start now on the road to parenthood at 41. And all that goes on, with that. So there's little things that I think about. And being really, really real, the act of getting pregnant, no, because that just opens up a whole nother subject, and I wasn't no. I want to go down that road at all. So I ended up, kind of where I am right now. And I'm not trying to sound like, oh, boo-hoo for me. That's just the way that it happened for me. Because I'm really hard-assed about, certain things. I always want things done a certain way. And those were two things that I was not going to yield on or settle for, other than, what I knew I was capable of. So until I got where I wanted to be, none of those other things were going to happen.
Yeah. Well, good question, Tony. I knew that was going to be a good one.
Yeah, I was.
Dante asks, if you can live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Well, I really like to travel, so there's a lot of places that I would travel to. But I always thought that, I'm a big baby, so I have to be near my family. Okay. I don't think I could live even out of state from my family, but if I was the last one, I guess, which is a bleak thought, I would hang my hat in Tennessee or Virginia. Like the last of my years, I would be there, because both of those places I've been to, both places I really enjoy. And I'm somebody who likes to enjoy the seasons, but also the heat. I'm a fan of hot weather. So, Virginia, for example, you got the mountains and the beach. It's, beautiful there. And so, yeah, I always toy with the idea of, if I had to do it, I would leave Ohio in a heartbeat. And those two places would probably be my number one spots.
Nice. Michelle, if you could tell your 16-year-old self, what would it be?
I was a bitch when I was 16.
Don't be a bitch.
No, right. Well, at that time, okay, here's a girl who was tormented her whole life. Now she's lost 88 pounds and has a job and is buying her own clothes. So I no longer was a target. So rather than being like, oh, hey guys, no. I didn't do that. I became the opposite of that. And my whole thought was, let's see if you think it's funny now that the rabbit's got the gun. So I didn't take any shit off anybody at that point. And I did some unkind things that, I'm not proud of, but at that time, that's exactly what my mindset was. It's kind of like, okay, now it's my turn to, see how you all like it.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, being as, where I'm at now, I needed my ass kicked, probably. I could kick the shit out of my 20-year-old self or my 16-year-old self. And, right now, if we came toe to toe, she would be snapped in half. But, I don't know. I guess I could have learned the forgiveness lesson, kind of early on. I could have maybe had a little bit more of a forgiving nature and maybe not been so horrible to people that didn't really deserve it, because all you did was do the same thing to them that they were doing to you, and it didn't feel good to you. So why are you doing it to them? Kind of a thing. At the time, it was gratifying. If I'm embarrassed to say so, it was. But you're just keeping up the cycle of bullying and this cycle of, harming other people and making them go home and, feel terrible and whatever. So I need to cool it with that, but that would have been my biggest thing. Get that chip off your shoulder and, you're going to be fucking fine.
Well, I mean, you've been bullied for so long, and it's just when you start bullying people, it makes you feel a little more superior, I guess, in a weird way.
I literally had it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I had it.
All right. So, Brandy, here is something I think about sometimes. Maybe some of you do as well. Maybe it's nonsense, but we all know our journey helps define who we are or who we have become now. Usually weight loss boosts your self-confidence. I catch myself saying, oh, you just wait. When I look like that, I'm going to do this or wear that. And it's usually something extreme. So I thought, if I'd look like my goals as a teen, early 20s, would I ever still be alive? Because I probably would have done a lot of stupid shit. Yeah, me too. So how different do you think you would have been? So basically, I think she's asking, like, if you looked like your goal as a teenager or a 20-year-old, like what your goal was back then, what you wanted to look like or whatever, how would you been now? Maybe?
I would have been a mother and may or may not be married right now, because I would have just rolled on with that original plan that, I kept for myself. So if I had a little tight bod back then, I would have moved on to, to have some fun. And I don't know. I was never a big drug person, so that wouldn't have changed. I probably would have drank just as much. Wouldn't been white girl wasted, I'm sure. But yeah, I would have to say probably the marriage and the kids things probably would have panned out for me, had I looked the way I wanted to look back then, and instead of, the robust woman that I was. So yeah, probably so. I don't think I would have done anything stupid. I'd like to think that, but who knows? Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I got pretty fit at a younger age. I got a little heavy set when I got older, and I worked graveyard for like 7 years. I think that's what did it for me. Graveyard for 7 years, snack.
Hard shift.
Sucked. Well, I mean, it didn't suck at the time. I enjoyed it because I just slept whenever I want and played. That was in my video game days back in the day. I got all fat and lazy and terrible time for me. You never want to be. You don't realize how rough it is until you lose it.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's like, man, I had it rough. I mean, I can only imagine what you went through. Like, rough times. So, Drew Kaminsky, favorite cheat meal?
I'm probably my favorite. Well, I'll just say it like this. My favorite non-healthy food is baked mac and cheese.
Huh.
Like with the whole works. That's my favorite thing. I probably could stick my face in a big pan of that and eat the whole thing. My birthday I went with pizza, so I really like that. I like really good barbecue. I love Mexican food as well. So any of one of those things, I don't think I have one go-to. And also dessert definitely has to be in the mix somewhere. And cake would probably last, but brownies or cookies or ice cream, something like that would definitely be something I would go for.
Yeah. Jeremy Gardner. I got something to say to Jeremy.
Jeremy, I told him what you said.
Jeremy, you know what? Your six pack ain't fooling anybody. We all know where you're at. Okay. Jeremy taking a picture is like, when you're holding the Eiffel Tower in your hand to make you look bigger. That's what he does with his photos. But everybody still knows you're 3 foot tall. So you're a good dude, Jeremy.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Don't call me a pussy. What caused all your weight gain, and how did you wrestle those demons to become the badass you are today?
Yeah, so overeating and laziness caused it all.
What's your greeting card?
My greeting card: don't eat that and move your ass to change your life. Basically. Yeah, that's really it. No, so I do feel like I do have a little bit, and that's a really strong emphasis on a little bit of a genetic component, in that I feel like I can gain weight quite easily. And I got a little bit of a family history as far as weight issues, are concerned, and have lost some relatives early on to obesity related disease. So I do feel like there is that kind of in my family. Okay. But I've never used that as a crutch. And I've never, called myself big boned or, thyroid problem. I don't have a thyroid problem. I'm not big boned. I like to fucking eat. That's it. I love food. And if I could eat food around the clock, I probably would. Glutton is my 7 deadly sin. Gluttony, And, you know, it can be gross, like kind of a gross way to live, just eating everything that you want. But that's really all it was. I remember just, for fun, because I tracked all my food when I started my weight gain. Okay, so I got me a food diary and I started, logging everything and measuring everything. Okay, so I took the food diary just for fun. I logged a typical day's worth of eating of the foods that I would eat before. Okay. And when I looked at the numbers, I would typically eat, it would be not uncommon for me to consume around 4,500 calories a day. Not, no exercise beyond activities of daily living, which were minimal at most. 4,500 calories or so. It looked like, I'm trying to say, it was over 200 grams of carbs, I think, and very little protein and a lot of fat. So it was really easy to see in pen and paper, kind of how the weight built, on itself. I was drinking a lot of beer as well, for a lot of time. Liquor too for a little while, but I really liked my beer. So yeah, it was just, that's it. I fucking ate myself to 320 pounds. The demons, any day now, I'll let you know how that battle was.
Yeah.
They still exist here and there. Certainly don't have a grip on me like they've had in the past, even as strong as last year. But yeah, it still pops up every now and then.
That's why they're called demons.
Right. And it's just a learning process, and, also finding people to kind of help you through, which is, why I enjoy the group so much, like I said, and all of those kind of things. So it's just learning who you are, all the ugly, all the good, without your crutch, without your alcohol, without your drugs, looking at yourself in the mirror and knowing exactly who you are and owning it and admitting to yourself everything that you've done, good and bad. And then fucking knowing that you can change it. But it's going to be hard, and it's going to knock you down, and it's going to kick your ass. But you have to be stronger than the ass kicking that it's going to give you. And like I always tell people, don't stop running until you hit the fucking horizon. Because it didn't never stop. This is not a stopwatch. Okay? It's always going to go.
Yeah, life doesn't
always going to fight demons. When one demon dies, then there's another one that's born, and that's going to inhabit your life too, and you're going to have to learn how to deal with that. But what do we say? No problems, just more work. Right?
That's right.
So that's how you wrestle those demons.
Yep. Kick it right in the dick.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Good one, Jeremy. Christian, Mr. Push-Up King. What is the coolest thing you've seen at work? And what is the worst you've seen?
Well, I mean, it's kids dental in a hospital. So we see cool stuff all the time. We'll get, characters that show up. I mean, okay, teeth in and of themselves are mad boring. But but like, for the kids, the hospital's always doing all kinds of stuff. Have Elsa showing up at the hospital, or, they do all kinds of fun things. Their Columbus Blue Jackets, the hockey team that's up there, they, do a lot of things with the hospital. And so, those just, I guess it's kind of dorky, I guess, but just the environment of where I'm at on a day-to-day basis and what they do for the families. It's a nonprofit hospital. So all of those things was a culture that I was proud to be a part of. And so I guess day to day, there's like cool shit that's going on.
Yeah.
The worst thing I've seen, again, kids hospital.
Murder
a
hornet.
lot of fucking terrible stuff, tragic things that I never ever thought I would see, and I didn't think that some things I didn't even know existed. That, and you know, anybody that has to endure, let alone it being a baby, a 2-year-old child that's just starting out, and they've got more things, you know, more knocks against them than I could ever dream of, you know, and that's also puts things into perspective, even at 41. I mean, Jesus Christ, shut your fucking mouth, quit bitching, and, you know, be grateful that you're not dealing with this, or, you know, these parents that have these children that are going through these horrible things, you know, always somebody who's got something fucking worse than you.
And
so
you probably see like bad parenting too. I mean, you know,
not everybody is you know, stand up, or, you know, we see, but also too, I have to try to put myself in their shoes, and some of those people are going through the absolute worst day of their life.
Yeah.
You know, when I see them. So kindness goes a long way. And I try not to judge anybody, but yeah, you can see some really, really terrible shit.
Yeah. All right. Name an exercise you would like to do, but either haven't tried or training to do. For me, it's handstand push-ups. I feel like Christian does enough push-ups for anybody, and I feel like he's not. I feel like he's not trying hard enough, because I think he can do handstand push-ups.
Yeah, I feel like he can too. Well, it kind of goes back. I was saying a little bit ago, the calisthenics exercise that our friend was, you know, kind enough to show us examples of. I haven't tried to do that. I had asked him where to even begin, because, you know, I toy with the idea of being able to do something like that, but I don't know that I could. I had another friend one time have a I can't do handstands at all. You know, I can get up on my hands if my feet are against the wall, but and be, you know, totally vertical, but that's as far as I can go. I can't leave the wall, otherwise I eat shit every time. So I do attempt them. I'd like to be able to do that, but she put up some challenge where you put on a t-shirt while you're doing a handstand.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah, so she can do it. I only did it again with my feet against the wall, so it was a bit of a cheat, but, you know, that's as good as I can get for right now. So I do attempt some fuckery here and there with stuff that I know I'm probably going to eat shit. You know, as long as I don't knock out my teeth or something worse, then I guess it's not a bad day, but so yeah, I think about doing other things. I do like to move my body in other planes of motion versus just, you know, like, you know, we get kind of used to weight lifting and, you know, those movements, but it's a little bit different to do just body weight exercises. Sometimes those can kick your ass in ways that you're not prepared for, you know, moving your bodies in different ways. So I do like TRX. I like, you know, that kind of an exercise class. I do like that kind of movement as well. So yeah, I do try to get into other things besides just cardio and weights.
Yeah, I want a powerlift competition eventually.
Yeah, I'd probably die under the weight of the weights. So I'd be buried under iron. But
not a bad way to die.
Yeah.
Especially after what you've been through, man.
Oh no. Right. She was like, oh, she was doing something she loved, but there she goes.
Oh God. Let's not talk about you dying. That's bad.
No, right? Yeah. No, we're gonna live forever. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah, that's right. All right. How frequent do you do push-ups or incorporate it in your fitness? I can't talk. Sorry.
Um, I like to incorporate push-ups a few times a week in my training. I just from the injury when I had gotten hurt last year doing dumb shit. I hurt my shoulder, especially my front delt on my left arm, and doing push-ups sometimes aggravates it. I try to do different positions and stuff, and that helps to a certain degree, but sometimes I can't do it at all. So good days, bad days, but I like push-ups, especially since, I learned how to do them on my toes and not the girl push-ups. So when that happened, I was kind of like, fucking A, look at that. I can do an actual push-up.
How would you look at that?
Look at that shit. Off your knees and everything. So yeah, I like them.
Yeah, I do them every other chest day, just about. You know that the Smith machine push-ups where they change the yeah. So that's what I do every other every other chest day. That's how I end the chest workout because it's fucking amazing. And I do it until
The ladder,
yeah.
like you drop it down lower and lower. Yeah, okay.
Well, I do it, and I just do it in increments of 10. So I'll start like medium or mid-level or whatever. I'll do 10, drop it down 1, 10, and I'll go all the way down to the bottom, and then I'll work myself back up and try to work down to the bottom again. And by the time I get like halfway down the second run, I'm pretty much done.
Fucking burnout, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like after a chest day, it's just a really good warm down.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
They were doing the same thing on the Incest chest workout that they put up on YouTube. I saw.
Yeah. So, anyways, that was a good time. I really enjoyed getting to know you and talking to you. I'm honored that I get to be the one to put your story out there.
Well, I'm honored that you asked me to be on it. Honestly, I mean, I see the podcast, and I didn't know that. I didn't think I was going to be a person who would be of any interest to be on it. So, I was very honored when you asked.
Well, honestly, like I was like, okay, I was looking for someone after the last one, and I just do it bi-weekly. I mean, like if I have to skip a week to schedule something with somebody, then that's fine too. But I try to do it bi-weekly or just on that week because if something happens, like, we almost had to reschedule for Monday because of my work schedule and shit.
Right.
So what I always say is corrections is never convenient. What I tell my staff, corrections is never convenient because they're like, oh, but this, and I have this going on at home. I'm like, corrections is never convenient because sometimes shit just goes stupid. Sometimes inmates create work,
right,
and you can't leave until the work's done. So, anyways, but yeah, no, I've been seeing you around, and I've kind of heard about your story. Like Nat Lyons actually follows you pretty good, and I mean it's clear with the questions. And
right. Oh, Nat.
Yeah, Nat, you're a good dude, Nat. I like it. But anyway, so no, he actually said, "Hey, what about her?" And I was like, "Oh, that's a good one. I actually follow her, and I seen your posts, and I kind of had a glimpse of your transformation, but not to this extent. So, anyways, but Nat is the one that like was like, "Hey, what about her?" And like, I was like, "Oh yeah, no, that's gonna be an awesome one. Good job, Nat."
Yep. Thank you, Nat.
So, anyways, but I mean, like I said, I'm honored to be able to put it out there, and I'm glad I got to know you. Getting other demo crew members to know you, and yeah, it's good story.
Thank you. I'm blessed to be a part of the group, and I'm grateful that you asked me to come on so I could go through the rundown again with everybody and let them know, a little bit about me. And
Yeah.
if you're starting your journey, though, I mean, it's really shitty at times, but like we said before, reach out to me or anybody else in the group that's had a transformation, and anybody be willing to help.
Yeah, for everybody out there, you have to start somewhere, and like she said, earlier in this podcast, just it's hard. The hardest part is when you first start, because you have aches and pains and you're not fit, so it's not easy. You're always, I mean, your body's fighting you the whole way because you're turning around on everything that your body knows, whether you like it or not. But it's hard. It's hard. The hardest part is to start. And like, if you ever see people in the gym, like I talk to people in the gym, the only honestly, like the people I talk to most is the heavy set or the elder, or there was a guy in there with one leg he lost in a car accident, and he's there taking himself off the wheelchair, putting himself on the machine. And there's a guy that's like probably 280 pounds, but he probably doesn't have any muscle on him because he wasn't lifting very much. But he was sweating his ass off, and he kept pushing and pushing and pushing, where he was like grunting loud. And it's like, that motivates me, and that makes me want to push myself even harder, because that guy's working 10 times harder than me, and he's in worse shape than me. So just remember, like, when you're at the gym, got to start somewhere. Yeah, we all started somewhere. It's hard, and you are a 100%, 110% definition of a hardworking motherfucker. No problems, just work. So, definition of it, no joke. So, and yeah, I know there's gonna be a lucky guy out there that's gonna watch this podcast, and you're probably gonna get.
My DM's gonna blow up now. Like, hey,
Yeah.
I saw you. I heard you're not married.
Oh my gosh, I heard you're not married, and
You're not married. You're not having kids. What's going on here?
hey. So, and that line is now an opening line for you. So
I owe him one now at this point, right?
I know, geez. That was like that's the best pickup line I've ever seen ever.
I know, right?
Like, oh, there's questions. She's gonna be on the podcast. I'm gonna ask her this in front of everybody. Oh God.
You have to give it a try, Nat. If you're in the gym, I mean, you just have to go up to a girl and just be like, "Hey, baby, you know,
yeah,
thanks for lifting. I lift too."
Or like when she's squatting, just go up and.
Yep.
Good
have
luck.
your hands waiting at the bottom of the squat. You know, don't be a creep at all.
It's for support. Just go with
right,
it.
Right. I didn't want you to hurt yourself, so here I am.
Because you're so beautiful.
Duck when she slaps you, because it's coming.
Yeah, and say, see my reflexes? That's why you want me.
Exactly.
Oh, gosh. All right, anyways, so everybody who listening or watching, give her a follow on Facebook. What's your Instagram?
Kristi Archer 79.
Give her a follow. Amazing follow. Amazing person. Amazing individual. Motivating. And my goal is for that one person to get to watch this podcast and better their life. So share it, subscribe, like, whatever, comment. Let me know what you think. How can we improve? If you want to reach out to her, I'm sure she wouldn't mind.
Mm-hmm. Yep, anytime.
Yeah. So anyways, I appreciate it. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me again, honestly. Thank you.
No, anytime.